I would say. Where do you plan to be, or the record shop be, or yourself? Because I know you also have an artist that you are trying to develop as well, correct?
Yeah, I have several. And that's my goal in the next few years to be at a point. I've been very fortunate to have a lot of success as a producer and engineer with artists that were already established and that I was brought in to be a part of the team and have great success with that type of artist. And then I've had some artists that I've met in the beginning of their career that have grown into something greater, and I've been a part of their team. What I want to be able to do is to be able to see that raw talent in its early developmental form and be able to take it to the finish line on my own, as the record shop being the catalyst to be able to make that happen. And so that's the next tier of accomplishing that. So moving in a little bit more into solo artist development and management, in a way where I can see the talent and be able to not only help them achieve their vision on a record, but be able to help them achieve their career vision and have all the resources and ability to be able to do that, on my own, and with the, obviously the great community that we have, in Nashville. So that's the next step, and that will happen in the next couple of years.
Yeah, definitely. I'm confident it will as well. So I guess my last question, what advice would you have for artists and producers, just from your experience, that you like to share, that, okay, this is something that I felt was a good takeaway in my experience, that I maybe want to pass this along to anyone else?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when we start out, we have all these ideas about what we intend for our career, which is awesome. It's great to have huge goals, and I don't think that we should limit ourselves to what that could be. So far, I've been able to accomplish most of the things that I've set out to, and the ones that I haven't yet, I'm well on the way to. And when I look at it, and in that perspective, it feels great. But I think what happens is that we think that there's a certain point where we make it, and I don't think that exists. In my experience so far, working with people at the highest level of the industry and being fortunate enough to be able to talk to them at a little bit more of a personal level, I understand that there's a tier of successes that you get to, and when you get there, you raise yourself to another level. And when you're in that level, now you're sort of like at the bottom of that level, and then you're surrounded by people that are bigger, and then you get up to that next level, and the same thing happens. And there's never a top, and it always continues to grow. So you're always looking for that next thing. And the feeling of hearing a song that you produced on the radio for the first time, winning an award for something that you created, getting a top 10 single or number one record or something like that, those things feel amazing every time, but they don't feel, that one experience doesn't feel amazing forever. It feels great in that moment, but you're only successful in that moment of success. After that, you're just working on being successful again. And I think that's something that I had no idea, didn't recognize. I thought that there were these certain milestones that you would hit, and then you would feel a certain sense of like, okay, I did it, sort of thing, and I've made it now. Now I'm here. Now I can just chill. And that doesn't happen. Every time that you raise your frequency, you're around other people that are another level higher. So I think the lesson to learn from that is that you have to have something greater than any of those accomplishments and greater than yourself to work towards, to be able to stay motivated in the long term, to be able to have a lifelong career in entertainment. Because if you're only focused on those things, they'll feel great when you get them, and you can get them totally by being laser focused on that. But eventually that hype wears off, and then you're searching for what it is that's going to fulfill you. And I was really fortunate to find that deeper level of passion early in my career before I even recognized that this was important to have. And even as I have that, I still struggle on a daily basis with being able to feel like I'm fulfilled enough. Like my mind still goes to that place of like, well, you haven't done this yet, and you haven't got that, but you have to be focused on that larger thing of enjoying the process, along the way. And for someone that's trying to figure that out for themselves, there's an incredible book that some friends of mine, Claude Kelly and Chuck Harmony, they run a company called Weirdo Workshop here in town. They're both prolific songwriters and incredible producers and musicians. And they created a community called Tiny Book Club, where every month or so we get together and we read a small book under 200 pages. Usually it has something to do with like self-development or experience or philosophy or something like that. And they've put together this really great environment for people to take the time to kind of get away from our art and that sort of thing and think about ourselves and all that. And through that, they introduced us to a book by an author named Jason Reynolds called For Everyone. That was easily the most impactful book from a chasing the dream perspective that I've read, and I read every day. So, it was just incredibly worded and in such a way that connected so deeply with me as a creative that strives for very impactful experiences in their career. And I think that anyone that's trying to find that fulfillment or that process or kind of clarity within it, it would connect with, whether you're creative or not, just any human being. It's called For Everyone by Jason Reynolds. I was so inspired by that I bought a huge box of them and had them for a while and was giving them out to everybody. And we were doing like giveaways on social media, and anybody that was coming in that I felt like could benefit from it, I give it to him. I got to re-up and get another big box of them. But he's an incredible author and a great spirit. There's also a really great YouTube video that Claude sent me the other day of him reciting the book, because the book is built around a poem. But it's just very inspiring. So for someone that wants to have something that they could read that would sort of take that idea to a deeper level, I would highly recommend that.